Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Hey, let's take a walk and go see what's in the fridge today. Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. Thanks so much for stopping by. Certainly do appreciate it. Thanks for spending a little time with this old man today. Today's beer is Founders Brewing Company's KBS. This is a 2019 edition. It's been cellaring in the bottle for a year now. I did this beer about a year ago, and this one's been cellaring in the bottle, so we're going to do a re-review of the 2019 edition and see if it's changed any, being in the bottle for a whole year. I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with it fresh, but maybe it's changed a little bit since it's been in the bottle for a whole year. This is a bourbon barrel version of their Imperial Stout. It says what you've got here is an Imperial Stout brewed with a massive amount of coffee and chocolates, then cave-aged in oak bourbon barrels for an entire year to make sure wonderful bourbon undertones come through. In the finish, makes you taste buds squeal with delight. And this was bottled on February the 11th of 2019. 12.2%er, guys. And I did this last October, so evidently they had multiple batches done in 2019. I'm not sure whether mine was done in February that I reviewed last October. So a year in the bottle. So let's find out if it's improved, same, got less or more, or about the same as what I thought it was a year ago. So I now picked this up at the craft beer store, and it was not a cheap bottle to buy. I think it was like $8 for this little 12-ounce bottle. Pricey beer, but it is a big beer. It is a bourbon barrel aged beer, so you're going to pay a little more for that, but pricey beer. I only bought one because it was an expensive beer to buy. I think a 4-pack was like $23. So I'm not going to do that. Let me just do one, and we'll see what that brings to the table. And I've already done a 2019, and this is a 2019. They still had the same thing available. They didn't have a 2020 edition. I don't know when they do these. Maybe they do them in February. I don't know. So maybe February they'll come out with the 2020 or 2021 edition. I don't have any idea how that works with these guys at Founders. A lot of people with all the political shit going on, and especially with this brewery, a lot of bad vibes for a lot of people. And for me, I actually one time said I would not buy any more of these beers, but it is what it is. I'm not going to get into that political crap anymore. We'll see what it brings to the table. If you don't want to buy the beers, don't do it. If you do, buy. That's the bottom line. And these guys are up in Michigan. Over to Untapped, they say 12.2% because they have the 2019 edition listed, or Beer Advocate clumps them all to frickin' together, which is probably why they're a dying site. No IBUs. KBS 2019 exclusively pulled from barrels used to age 25-year-old bourbon. So I wasn't overly impressed with the 2019 fresh. So let's see if it changed my mind being in the bottle for a whole year. So with that being said, let's get it open, get it into the glass. And see what we got. I'm going to pour this straight down the center here, guys. It is pitch black coming out. So this is a 2019 re-review. About a finger and a half of head on that. Really tight bubble, so that's liable to stick around for a while. Over to the light, there is absolutely none, guys. It is pitch black, good looking Imperial Bourbon Barrel Stout. To the nose we go. I am getting the bourbon. Rich roasted malt, maybe a little hint of caramel toffee, black molasses, and a slight hint of a little bit of coffee. Very appealing and very nice or tasty smelling beer. Even though it's set in the barrels and it's got coffee added to it and it's been in the bottle for a whole year, I'm still getting a little bit of coffee notes. Smells awesome. It really does. So final beer of the evening for me, so let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. The bourbon is not off the chain. It's very subtle. It's there, but it's very subtle. Slight coffee notes, rich roasted malt, maybe a little bit of bittersweet chocolate, caramel toffee, black molasses. A very tasty beer. To me, like a medium to slightly full mouthfeel. Not super rich or heavy mouthfeel. A tasty beer. It is a very tasty beer. That's why I went ahead and picked up one to re-review the 2019 that I done a year ago. I said, it's been a year since I've done this. Let me go ahead and do that. Because they didn't have a 2020 edition. I don't know when that comes out. So let's find out what that brings to the table. Right out of the fridge, let's let it come up to room temperature like I always do, and see if any of those notes to come out to be a little more prominent when it comes up to room temperature for the final chug. But right now, it's a very tasty beer, very well done beer. I would like to see the bourbon notes be a little more prominent than what they are, but you can always do that yourself. Throw a little bit of bourbon in there, and there you go. You can, or a little bit more, or a little bit more, or a little bit more. How much bourbon do you want to taste? You can always do that. That's the thing about it. You can always kick it up a notch or 12. Kick it up one notch, kick it up 12 notches. I mean, how much bourbon do you want to taste? Just add some to yourself, and then there you go. So let me sip on it, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. A little bit left here, but it's sipping up for a while now. Tasty beer. I don't know if it's any more impressive now than it was a year ago when I did it the first time. 2019 edition. It's a tasty beer. It is a tasty beer. The bourbon notes are not off the chain, guys. I mean, I've had better bourbon barrel versions of Imperial Stouts. But a decent beer. A well-made beer. It's not outstanding. It's not blowing my hair back or my socks off. And you can kick that up a notch. Like I said, throw your little bourbon in there, a little bit more bourbon in there. How much bourbon you want to put in it to kick it up to where you want it to be. If it was me and I wasn't reviewing it, I would probably put just a little bit more bourbon in it to kick it up a notch. But still, a tasty beer. One you would probably want to drink at home, being and Beer Advocate has it at 12.3%, and this is not that big, 12.2%. I mean, it varies between batch to batch and year to year, how often they do it. Still a tasty beer. It is. Final chug. The bourbon notes are off, not off the chain. It's there, but it's very subdued. It is a tasty beer, guys. It is a very pleasant beer to drink. I think the alcohol is well hidden. as much as it can be for a 12% beer, depending on the batch that you're drinking. Very nice, very pleasant. To me, 98 from me on this one, guys. It is a very pleasant beer. It's not a 10, but if you say it's a 10, I would not argue with that. But I've had better bourbon barrel versions that has a little bit more bourbon taste and aromas and a little bit heavier or thicker mouthfeel and a heavier body than this one has. But it is still a pleasant beer to drink. Very, very well made beer. So 98 for me on this one, guys. I would bear everything that says 100 because they clump them all together, guys. They don't differentiate between batches or years or anything like that. Untapped has the 2019 edition, which is what I'm doing here, and they have it at 4.4, and that's in their A scale also, not A plus. And I'm not giving it an A plus scale either. It's about what I had about a year ago. Decent beer, not overwhelming, not blowing my hair back and my socks off, but very, very tasty. Very well made beer. So the KBS 2019 edition of their Imperial Stout, Kentucky Breakfast Stout is what KBS stands for. I personally would never drink a beer of this magnitude for breakfast, but some of you young bucks may think, especially if you're on a weekend and you don't have anything else to do. If I would drink this for breakfast, I'd be back in the bed and sawing logs. I don't drink beer for breakfast anymore, guys. I never have. I never have in my whole life. I've never drank beer for breakfast. But this would be a good one if you're at home and you're not having to do anything special and you want to drink this beer for breakfast. But just remember, you're drinking a 12% or 12+% beer for breakfast. If you're not operating any kind of heavy machinery or anything like that where you might saw your damn leg or your hand off, just drink responsibly, guys. I would never drink this for breakfast. Never. Ever. But that's just me, though. I'm an old guy. I'm an old, decrepit guy. Crippled up guy. So, but very tasty for a final beer of the evening for me. Very tasty beer. If you had the 2019 edition of their KBS, let me know what you think. Until we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.